Welcome to a new series that TalentRubric is starting on the cross section between AI and recruiting and GCCs. Uh, and this is the first episode of that series. We have a very special guest. We have Randy Klin, who is a certified human resources leader with over 15 years of experience in tech recruiting and who has led AI-enabled projects. So he's a perfect candidate for the first episode. Welcome, Randy, to
Hi.
the episode. What we'll do is we'll just dive right in and go off tangents based on your responses. So let's start with a more practical example. AI has been reshaping industries, including recruiting. So can you share a story where AI completely transformed the way you approached hiring?
I would say AI has definitely enhanced how we approach recruiting, basically in helping us drive efficiencies in recruiting. So one of the biggest challenges a recruiter has day to day is just keeping up with the volume of applicants, candidates, outreaches, responses, etc., scheduling, just managing a full desk. So AI tools in recruitment have definitely helped streamline and automate and drive efficiencies in recruitment. There's tools out there right now that are readily available, which many companies are using, which helps recruiters' lives and can help tremendously. Things as basically helping generate personalized messaging and responses, automating scheduling for us, for interviews, for meetings, for calls. There's a lot of neat suggested candidate features, whether they be in the CRM, the ATS, or an external app that can help analyze a selected resume or a selected job and suggest similar or ideal candidates. So that's definitely helped. I don't think it's transformed recruiting yet. Do I think it will transform recruiting? I don't know. It's definitely going to evolve faster than anybody currently predicts, that's for sure.
Okay, so let's move on to another thing that you've touched upon. And I've been always curious about this. So companies have been using AI for some time, but with generative AI and the boom that ChatGPT brought in, the usage has just spiked. And the utilization of AI for getting recommendations on eligible candidates, on filtering through candidates, I've always there are two arguments for this, right? So one is these things reduce bias from the human side, that maybe we should go with this or that candidate and they will be more objective. But then there is the flip argument to it, where these bring in bias because they have been tuned and trained a certain way. So they miss out few good candidates who have not probably written their resume well or structured their LinkedIn profile well. What are your thoughts on that?
You're absolutely right. And I was going to say, before you added it, AI tools, filtering tools can reduce and mitigate bias, but you're absolutely right. They can also introduce bias because everything has to do with the parameters they've been told to operate in. So I have not come across in my career any tool, AI tool, filter tool, which can really effectively parse through a list of 100 candidates and put them in an order for me to read resumes or look at that are like, oh yeah, this is clearly the best, second best, etc. And a lot of that has to do with how are they set up, what are the parameters. And you made a good point too. And this is where I think AI is never going to replace the human intuition, right? What is a resume, right? It's a piece of paper, it's a document that's got highlights, right? But like you said, some candidates know how to put together a good resume, others don't. I've personally always been a fan of long detailed resumes. As a recruiter, even, you may think, oh, 5-7 pages. Oh my God. To me, I'm like, this is good. This is more information in here. I go, unfortunately, the trend these days is like, if you can't put your life story on a single piece of paper front and back, you don't know how to paraphrase, you can't communicate effectively. So I like, a lot of times I'm going through a resume, okay, down to second page is, no, that's the end. It was trending in the right direction. I want more. And hopefully that possesses me to call the candidate. So yeah, again, your AI tools are only going to be as good as the data that they're ingesting, how well they understand the context of not only words, but phrases, associations, fields, etc., additional or external information like coming from LinkedIn, etc. I think where I've seen it helpful is in really high volume stuff, when you want to itemize your candidates or list them quickly based on like geography, or if it's like certifications, education, some really specific or knockout things you need or that you want to see or look at first, it can do that. But any tool I've ever used, like, these tools are prone to hallucinate as well. I open up a resume and then I'm searching myself and I'm going, wait a minute, this does not have one of my absolute must-have parameters. How did it even show up in this list of suggested candidates? Is there keywords buried in white on the page that I can't see? That was a trick candidates used to use like a long time ago, but it's far from perfect, let's put it that way. I'm hoping that in the future, though, as these tools get more advanced, as they get trained better and on context, that they're really going to be able to identify truly top candidates or who really do demonstrate the skills that we are looking for.
Okay, I'll ask another. I keep asking these top 3 questions, so I'll ask one more. If, as a senior leader in the industry, if you had to give advice to your peers, or more specifically younger recruiters who are still on the edge deciding about whether to use AI tools or not and how to use them, what would be your top 3 tips to them?
Top 3 tips. Number 1, you need to use and utilize AI tools.
Compromise on that.
Even just to helping you in your day to automate or streamline your desk, right? And this isn't just a recruiter, it's any person. Listen, AI is causing this kind of buzz about, oh, is it going to eliminate jobs or it's going to wipe out whole industries? I think, again, I don't think it's going to do that in many or any industries. I think it's going to be a tool. And the employees who learn to use these tools are going to be well positioned. The employees who refuse out of fear or just old way of doing things, they're the ones that are going to be at a significant disadvantage, right? Because you just can't automate and streamline your day-to-day tasks as easily as you can now. It's so easy now with some of these tools. So that would be the first thing, specifically for people who want to get into recruiters. Hey, definitely embrace. Listen, if you're fortunate to work at a company that's paying for an AI co-pilot or a business suite of collaboration and automation and tools, hey, you're blessed. If you're not working for one of those companies, hey, I would say advocate for it. There's lots of free stuff out there. And even at Salesforce, I remember within the last couple years, some teams and groups were using various free type of AI softwares that helped, whether it was like review messaging, etc. And then after a while, because due to privacy and corporate security, there's always updates, right? The company said these are no longer going to be available. Like, you're not even going to be able to use them anymore. Here's like the approved list of apps that here's the one that's going to replace that, etc. But if you're a recruiter and you work for a company that maybe isn't paying for or utilizing AI tools, hey, demo some of the free ones, bring that to your leaders and say, hey, this is a tool that really helps streamline collaboration, or workflow builders in our chat platforms, or helps generate quick and personalized messaging. You want to make sure that, again, your company will approve of that, or better yet, adopt it. Or maybe that'll spur them into researching it further themselves. So that's the one thing. You definitely have to embrace it. The second tip, or if that's what you're asking for recruiters, is nothing will ever replace a conversation. And even when it comes to simple, I'm really old-fashioned when it comes to recruiting, and I learned from great mentors. Recruiting is very much a sales business. You can't be afraid to pick up the phone. And I would go further and say that because we message so easily now, you probably have an advantage if you pick up the phone versus an email. Or you always got to have your finger on the pulse. What channels are people using? Recruiting has spilled out of just application, email response, right? Scheduling call. It's spilling into other social media platforms, tech platforms, right? GitHub or Stack, even mainstream Instagram or stuff like that. I started using WhatsApp for recruiting, for messages several months ago when I was helping out another region at Salesforce at the time in Latin America. And my recruiting colleagues down there in Latin America were saying, hey, Randy, candidates down here respond very well to WhatsApp outreaches. And I was like, really? I never would have thought of that. And I tried it, and go figure, they were right. Like, you call a candidate up, they don't answer, you leave them a voice message, they never get back to you. Email them, never get back. You send them a WhatsApp message, they're replying in like seconds. And it's, so as a recruiter, you always have to be cognizant and trying where is the best method to engage candidates. But I do think ultimately that is going to lead you, like outreaches aside, that's going to lead you to conversations and talking. And that is really where you can qualify people, their skills, their interests, their drives, motivations. No tool, or I would argue any amount of back and forth, just text messaging or emailing, is going to supplement that human interaction. What's the third piece of advice I'd give recruiters in this day and age? I don't really know. That those two are big ones. Don't be afraid to learn, right? Like, it really doesn't matter what your job is in this day and age. You cannot just sit and think, oh, I've got the best tool, or this is the best approach. Technology is rapidly evolving, and I think if you adopt a change mindset, it's easier said than done. I'm personally a creature of habit. I always have been. I know this about me. Some people are, hey, change, great. It's no, if I have a process and I just work this out and it's going good. Anytime someone says, hey, we're changing platforms or changing this, my immediate reaction is, oh no, but you almost got to force yourself, because any major change that I've gone through, whether it comes to day operations or even longer strategic kind of changes or approaches, they've been beneficial. They've also been learning experiences, right? Like you always want to stretch yourself. That's a term I learned recently, where it's actually good. If you try it, stretching yourself, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you will see the benefits. Try to adopt a change mindset in that, with the assumption or the belief that things are always going to change. The pace of change is only going to get more rapid. And that may seem crazy and scary, but it's really not, because, again, change isn't necessarily a bad thing. Look at our day-to-day lives and everything we do, like just getting up, going to work, managing our own meetings, etc., paying bills, whatever it is. Everything is about efficiencies, right? And a lot of these tools and processes that we're using are helping to drive that. So again, embrace it, take advantage of it. If something's challenging, use that as an advantage. If it's a disadvantage to your competitors, somehow make it an advantage to you. Finding the advantages, right? I think, because think about it, doesn't matter what you're doing in life, if there's challenges, impediments, roadblocks, a fair share of people are just going to follow the path of least resistance, right? Hey, if this is a roadblock, forget it, I'm going this way, or I'm going to go around it. But that challenge could actually present itself as an opportunity for you, right? And I've always found that when it comes to, especially when it comes to sourcing candidates, sourcing niche talent, hard to find talent, things that are going to make your competition give up or turn a different way. Hey, just if you can find a way to use it to your advantage, then you're now stepping above everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely very useful tips, and not just in, especially the last part, not just applicable to recruiting, all fields. Okay, let's start wrapping up this. Let's close out with this question actually.
Sure.
If you had to predict one substantial change in the recruiting industry coming due to AI, what would that be?
So I think it's going to be, and I hope it is, improving the candidate experience. A lot of companies are focused on that right now. The candidate experience. That's like when someone applies to a job, what happens? Is it a black hole? They never hear back from you? Does some automated message come at them 6 months later saying, hey, guess what? You weren't selected for the role. Really? Like, I forgot about you. You never got back to me. The candidate experience throughout the interview process. How hard was it to schedule an interview for that candidate? How long did it take? Every company out there now, a lot of companies are prioritizing the candidate experience, right? Because again, like, everybody has talents. Someone may not be the right person for one job. They could be even better for another job in that company. And you want to know that, right? Rather than just casting them off and then going through the whole process of finding people again. I think we're going to see AI helping companies manage the candidate experience better, keeping candidates engaged. And some of this is going to start with just simple messaging and cadence of messaging, right? Like where we're seeing AI at work now big time in sales consoles, right? Or CRM, right? Where literally like it's your sales console will prompt you, the user, one day, hey, Randy, your customer Siddharth, remember he was your customer, his company bought something 6 months ago. It's his kid's birthday today or tomorrow. You should remember to send him happy birthday. And guess what? Telemetry from just online publicly available knowledge said his company just acquired someone, another company. They're probably going to be looking now to blah, blah, blah. Hey, great ideas, great suggestions, right? So again, these AI tools are going to help companies better engage their candidates, better stay connected, improve the candidate experience, and they should, right? And rightfully, and they're only going to get more efficient at it, the tools that is, right? As the models get to understand the data better, the associations between it, the context. I think that's what the secret sauce is going to be. It's not going to be suggesting the best candidates for one role. It's going to be literally understanding each and every, imagine every candidate that applies, you having a system that helps you understand what every candidate is and does and wants to do, and in a much more strategic, broader, holistic sense is able to start mapping candidates to teams and jobs, and or at least pipelines of candidates, while maintaining that level of engagement. Whether, and you know what, I don't care if it is automated. I have as a candidate received messaging where it was really nice, and I've even replied to the person saying, listen, I don't, of your message you just sent me, even if it was AI generated, I appreciate it. It was very relevant to me and addressed to me, and I appreciate it. So I think that's going to be like the secret sauce, the next level of AI tools in recruiting, where it's going to be really personalizing that connection and maintaining it, and not just be so transaction focused. Apply to one job, get it, yes, no, and that's it, start over again. No, it's going to be this evolving thing. I hope.
It's awesome. I look forward to that future.
Me
Thank
too,
you. Yeah. Thank you, Randy, for giving out so much time.
Yeah, it was nice
on
chatting
this
with you,
conversation.
Siddharth, and thanks for having me.